right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. I want to go through what the Bitcoin miners did last week. I also want to go through what they've done year to date, and I've got some, I think, shocking numbers on what's going on with both the stock and the market cap of some of these Bitcoin miners. I think there's a bunch of opportunities in here as well. So let's get to everything. Okay, I want to start by going a week back in time. So this is the week ended Friday, June 16th. So this was not this past week we just finished, but 2 weeks ago. And the reason that I want to do that is there's three stocks, BitDeer, Greenidge, and Cipher, had gigantic weeks. Particularly, you can see BitDeer 2 weeks ago was up 126%. Greenidge was up 70%. Cipher was up 33%. So those were number 1, 2, and 3. And they were kind of running away from the field that week. It was a pretty level week other than those three. If I go to this week that just ended, you're going to see these three right here at the bottom in last place. So Cipher was actually the only Bitcoin miner in the red last week. It was down 5%. So while these three finished in last this week, I think there was a reason for that. And if you average them out over the 2 weeks, they're still excellent performers. Okay, with those three aside, you can see this was an absolutely spectacular week for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. We are on what I think is the verge of a breakout, but that is another video. In this video, I just want to focus on what happened to the Bitcoin miners because you can see there were some monster runs this week. So if we start at the top, Core Scientific up 82% this week. So that was a gigantic run up. It looks like they're going to be coming out of bankruptcy soon, out of Chapter 11. So I still don't know the exact details on that, and I'm still not sure how this affects existing shareholders, but a lot of people are speculating that this is going to be a good thing. Argo Blockchain up 56%. So that was a giant week for Argo Blockchain. They have struggled as of late, but not last week. Big catch-up week last week for them. Iris Energy up 35%, so that was a big move. Okay, so before we go any further, I want to talk about what Bitcoin did on the week. So in that period of time, Bitcoin was up 17%. That was a big run up, but you can see most of the Bitcoin miners beat that, although a lot of them were right here in this same area. So when these trade 1-to-1, it's actually underperformance for the Bitcoin miners. So even though the Bitcoin miners, a lot of them had very nice weeks this week, I think there's some left on the table to keep running if Bitcoin can get through this next spot of resistance, which is somewhere around $31,000. So now I want to look at what's happened year to date, because some of these Bitcoin miners are some of the best performing stocks in the entire stock market. So although prior to that we had a bear market and a crypto winter, if you will, I want to take a look and show you guys what these Bitcoin miners have done so far this year to date in the year 2023. Okay, I'm going to start at the top of the list. So Core Scientific, as we talked about, they are in Chapter 11. It looks like they're going to be coming out of that fairly soon, and there's been a lot of speculative buying. So if you held Core Scientific, if you bought into this on January 1st, you're up 819% year to date. So that's over a 9x in this stock just in the year 2023. If you've been watching the channel for a long time, you know I try and harp on this point. These stocks do 5x, 10x, 20x. So we're already getting that happening right now. Core Scientific has 9x'd so far just this year. And from the bottom to the top, it's been more like a 15x for them already. So Core Scientific is leading the way. However, they are a little bit of a mystery to me. Again, we're going to have to see what happens when they come out of Chapter 11 and how the existing stockholders do versus all of the debt holders. So we should be getting news on that sometime in the near future. Okay, in second place is BitDigital. BitDigital is up 625% this year. So again, this is a staggering move. These are some of the best moves in the entire market. So BitDigital for me, that was not, I put out my top 8 Bitcoin miners on the beginning of the year on January 1st, 2023. That was not in my top 8. I'm a little bit mystified as to why this is leading the pack. So drop in the comments if you have an idea why you think this is up so much this year. 625% so far year to date. Okay, in third place is Cipher. That's up 418%. So that's a 5x. So this is a big market cap company. Cipher's the 4th largest market cap out of all the Bitcoin miners. Now, they're all small market cap companies, so it's still not even $1 billion company yet. But for being one of the bigger Bitcoin miners, to have a 418% move to the upside is a gigantic return on investment in just less than half a year. Then we have DigiHost up 381%. And then we have a bunch of them here in a range, somewhere between 240 and 270%. So you've got Marathon up 272%. They're one of the largest by market cap. You've got Iris Energy up 268% year to date. You've got Bitfarms up 245%. HUT is tied with it, up 245%. And Riot Blockchain is up Riot Platforms is up 242%. So those are kind of a grouping there. So that's really a 3.5x for most of those. And again, let's take a minute and look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up 87% year to date. So to me, the whole reason to play the Bitcoin miners is that they are a leveraged play. It is a higher risk, so it should be a higher reward situation. A 2x to me is actually underperforming. I expect these to at least 3x Bitcoin. And then you have 5 Bitcoin miners that have actually outright underperformed Bitcoin. Now, to be fair, Mawson's up 86%. That's statistically almost identical to Bitcoin. But then you have Argo Blockchain up only 49%. And remember, Argo Blockchain was one of the big winners this week. So a lot of that move was just this 1 week. So it's been a tough year prior to that for Argo Blockchain. Any's only up 23% this year to date. Gree is up 2% this year to date. So that stock has struggled, and Stronghold is actually in the red. They're the only Bitcoin miner that I follow that year to date, they are in the red. They're down 11% in the same period of time that Bitcoin is up 87%. So these are the types of things that I look for in these charts. I try and talk about this each week. I look for outlying events. I look for potential opportunities. Is there a reason Stronghold's down 11%? Are they in the middle of failing? Or is there an opportunity here? Is this a company that's been performing well, but their stock is lagging behind? So that's the kind of stuff that I look for. So that's year to date. Okay, quickly, this is another way that I look at these Bitcoin miners. They hit a local high somewhere mid-February. There has been a big separation between the top and the bottom of this list. We've had some of these Bitcoin miners continue the run in a big way, and some of these others are down dramatically. So at the top of the list, Bit Digital, since its previous high, it's up 150% off of its February highs. So to contrast that, that's in first place. On the other end of the spectrum, Gree is down 72% from its 2023 February highs. So you can see there have been, particularly in the last 3 or 4 months, there have been winners and losers. So this is why you got to do your own due diligence. This is why you have to have conviction in your stocks. I dollar cost average in. So for those stocks that are in the red right now, if I think those are companies that are doing well and their stock is in the red like this, to me, those are buying opportunities. Now, obviously, if they're in the red and they're not doing well, that would be a stock I personally would stay away from. And it's also a chance to see, are some things a little bit overheated? You've got Bit Digital up 150% off of its February highs. In that same period of time, you'll see Bitcoin's only up 22%. So again, I just try to look at this every different way that I possibly can. And each week I try to present one new way or a chart that we haven't looked at in a while so that we can just see, are there any opportunities? Are there any things that are jumping out at this one way or the other? My big takeaway, just to summarize this chart, is really this has turned into winners versus losers. We see several companies outperforming Bitcoin big time in the last 3 to 4 months, and several companies that seem to be just fading away. Okay, lastly, I want to talk about market cap, and here's where we have a gigantic separation in Bitcoin miners. So there's a few things that I want to point out on this chart. The first thing is Marathon is now in first place. It just passed Riot. They are very close, so they could trade back and forth, but Riot for months and months and months has been the largest Bitcoin miner by market cap, and at one point they were like $400 million ahead of Marathon. So that has flipped. Marathon's been on a very nice run lately. It has now passed Riot in overall market cap by just a little. So you've got Marathon at 1, Riot at 2, Bitdeer, which I just added to the list last week. Bitdeer put out their first monthly operational report last week, so I now have enough information where I think it makes sense to add them to this list. They are the third largest by market cap at $1.2 billion. Riot and Marathon are over the $2 billion market cap. And then we drop off to Cypher in fourth place at $722 million. So that's the fourth largest by market cap, but you'll see it's about 1/3 the size of those top 2 market cap companies. So there's a big drop off from there. And then we have another kind of a big drop off. We have HUT in 5th place at $652 million, CleanSpark in 6th place at $517 million. and then it drops off from there down into the 300s. So TeraWulf's at 382 million in 7th place. And you'll see there's 4 companies, TeraWulf, Bitfarms, BitDigital, and Hive, with an almost identical market cap, and those are 4 very, very different companies. I like to point that out if you want to do an exercise just to see how different a lot of these Bitcoin mining companies are. I think there'll be some winners and losers. Some of those are going to pull away and start to make big moves to the upside, and I think some of those may actually make moves to the downside. So again, not financial advice, but these are the types of things I'm trying to see that jump off the page at me. Then you go down to Core Scientific, which is now in 11th place, and it has been on a huge run. So this run of over 800% this year has moved it only still up to 11th place out of all the Bitcoin miners. Then we have Iris Energy, which is in 12th place. That's at $253 million. So we have those 12 companies, and then what I like to say is all the rest, because Argo Blockchain is next in line at $77 million. So I think this is a look at the market cap. This is starting to shape up and draw a little bit more of a clear picture, although, there's a lot of room ahead. So all in all, to summarize, I'm just going to go back to this week's results. The key from here is, can Bitcoin break out of this $31,000 line of resistance? It's candle wicked up to 31,000 2 times now. It spent the weekend consolidating. We'll see what happens early this week, but I'm looking over the next, week or two. Can we have a breakout? And if it does break out and start closing daily candles over $31,000, I do think there's a run up from here. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's what's happened over the last week. That's what's been happening this year with the Bitcoin miners. So if you made it this far, thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video.